Hello everyone, Dr. Chips here, and I hope you are all well. Now I've been thinking, what could we create in our computing lessons that not only helps us recap our computing, but also could help us or other pupils in the school recap any learning they might have missed during lockdown. So I thought long and hard, and then I thought, I know. We'll create a spelling quiz to help younger pupils practice their spelling. Perfect. Okay, so let me show you what we are going to code together. Let's jump into Scratch. So here's my completed quiz. Let me show you what happens when it's run. I'm going to click the green flag. Spell school. Okay, so it asks the question, school. Write your answer in the box. Yes, well done. Got school right.
Spell friend.
Friend, right. F-R-E-I-N-D.
Friend is spelled F-R-I-E-N-D. Spell today.
I know friend for next time now. How cool is that? Not only does it test their spelling, but if they get the word wrong, it helps them by telling them how to spell the word correctly. Now this is really easy to code, but before you jump into Scratch to code your own quiz, we need to talk about algorithms. When we're learning to program, we need to be aware that there are two steps to the programming process. Firstly, we create a design, and that design will include our algorithm, and then we implement that design as code in Scratch or any other language that we might be working with, and that's when we are coding. So we need an algorithm for our quiz here, but let me just check actually. Do we remember what an algorithm is? What I want you to do is pause this video when I say not just yet, and I want you to discuss with a partner, or if you're on your own, just chat to yourself. I do it all the time. What can you remember about algorithms? What are algorithms and examples of algorithms? Not necessarily just with computing, but in everyday life. So get ready to pause me when you've had a discussion with your class, with your teacher, or with yourself, then unpause me and we'll crack on with our quiz. Pause me now. Fantastic, well done everybody, particularly you over there, well done to you, excellent, great answer. Unless, of course, no one could remember what it was, but it doesn't matter, because I'm going to tell you anyway. An algorithm is a precise sequence of instructions or set of rules for getting something done. So some of you might have said recipes, or the rules to have how to play a particular sport, or perhaps classroom rules. There might be a poster up somewhere with the rules of how you need to behave in your classroom. They're all examples of algorithms. Now in computing, our algorithm sets out really clearly what will happen in our program. So let me share with you the algorithm which I've created for our spelling quiz. So here it is, here's my simple design, including the algorithm that we've just been talking about. You can see the design says I need a quiz master sprite and a fun background to make it a bit more interesting. I've chosen the space one, but you can choose whichever one you like. And then we have our algorithm, which precisely, I'll try and say that word properly, precisely explains what will happen when our program is run. So step one, a recording plays, asking pupils to spell a word. Step two, the pupil enters how they think they spell that word. Step three, if they get the spelling correct, it will say well done. Else if they're wrong, a recording will play with the correct spelling. And then step four is just that steps 1 to 3 should be repeated over 4 further times, so that there are 5 words in total for our pupils to have a go at spelling. Cool, so we're all set to go at having a go at coding our own spelling quiz in Scratch. Time to get set with a new Scratch file open, and let's go for it. Okay, so the first quick thing we're going to do is load our background into our project, and we're going to do that by clicking on the choose a backdrop here, going to the magnifying glass task to search from the ones that they've got available for us. I'm going to go for that space one, which I like, which is Space City 2. You might choose that one or a different one. Now what we're going to do is we're going to decompose, which means break down into steps our algorithm so that we can look at how we're going to implement each step of that algorithm as code. So our first step was that the player is played a recording of a word that they need to spell. So that means that we need to get some of these audio clips recorded into our Scratch project. Now to do that, you simply make sure you are clicked on the your Quizmaster sprite, and I'm actually going to rename that Quizmaster. We go up to where it says sounds, and here we can actually record in the audio clips that we're going to use in our quiz. So let me just show you how you do that. You click bottom left here, it says choose a sound, and then two up you go to record, and it will open this little recording editor. You can see the decibel meter on the left there bouncing up and down as I'm talking. When I hit record, it will allow me to record in a little audio clip and then use that in Scratch. So here we go. Spell school. So there we go, I've tried to be nice and clear when I've recorded it in. If you want to, you then can trim down your audio clip, but you shouldn't need to, so we can just hit save there, and then that will appear in our Scratch file. Now, just like I said with the quiz, when I was naming the Quizmaster sprite, make sure you rename your recordings. So this was Spell School. Okay, so that we can keep track of them when we're working with them within our code. We're not going to use the meow sound in our project today, so we can delete that one. So before I set you off on your first task of recording in the 5 words you want the pupils playing your quiz to spell, what we also need to just think about a second is there any point else in our program where we need audio recordings? And if you think back to where I showed you how the quiz worked and think back to our algorithm, in fact I'm going to put it up here. You can see at step 3, if they get a question wrong, a spelling wrong, we want to play them the correct spelling. So we need to record those in as well. We might as well do it now when we're working with the sound editor. So again, for this one, I could just hit record. School is spelt S-C-H-O-O-L. And for some reason that didn't, it was just selecting the end there, don't know why that is. Let's select the whole thing and click save, and I'm going to call that one capitals how to spell school. So what I actually want you to do is not only record in your 5 words that you want pupils to spell when they're playing your quiz, but I also want you to make the recordings of how to spell those 5 words as well. So that's your first task. Get ready to pause me, and I will see you in a minute. Pause me now. Okay, great job everyone, welcome back. Well done on that first part of this project. You should now have all of your sounds in your audio clips that we're going to use in our program, just like I've got here. So let's just remind ourselves that the first step in our algorithm is that when the program is run, and we're going to start our program by clicking the green flag to run it, the first audio clip asking people to spell the first word needs to be played to them. So let me show you the code that we're going to use to turn that algorithm, implement that algorithm into our program in Scratch. And by the way, in today's lesson, some of the steps I'm going to talk you through and show you how to do them, but not all of them. So don't think I'm going to show you the code, all of the code that you need for each step. With some of the steps coming up, I'm going to show you the blocks I think we need, but I'm going to let you work out how you might combine them. But for this stage, to get us going, I'll demonstrate how we are going to turn that first step of our algorithm into code. What we're going to do is we're going to use from the events menu the when green flag clicked block. And what we're going to say is that when the green flag is clicked, we're going to go to the sounds menu, and we're going to use the play sound until done. So it will play the whole of the sound before moving on into the program. And we're going to select our first audio clip, which for me was, the first word was school. So let me just check this a second, check everything is working okay. It's always good to test our program, and then we can debug it as we go along. So if I click on the green flag just to check.
Spell school.
Yeah, that's doing exactly what I wanted to as my algorithm described. Now the second step in our algorithm was that pupils playing our quiz get to enter how they think that word is spelt. And to enable that, to code that part of our quiz, we're going to use the ask and wait block. Now let me just show you what happens when this block is run. I'll just click on it and it will run it. And you can see what it does is it asks whatever question we have in the box there, whatever we've written into that, and it waits for a response, and you can type the response into the box that appears here. Now we're going to cheat a little bit today. We're going to use this a little bit differently because we've already asked our question. We asked it using the audio file. So I'm just going to put in here, please enter your answer in the box. So now when I run this,
spell school.
it will play the audio clip asking them to spell school, and then the quizmaster will say, please enter your answer into the box, and it will present this box here for them to write in how they think that word is spelled. Now in Scratch, whatever somebody puts into that box, whether it's a word or whether it's a number, it's stored in this answer variable here. And that answer variable is a variable which loads up with Scratch. And in other videos that I'm going to make, I'm going to talk more about variables, but today we just need to know that whatever they write into that box, their attempt at spelling that word will be saved into that answer variable. Okay, over to you. Your second task is to replicate the code I've just shown you here, so that when your program is run, it plays the audio recording asking the pupil to spell your first word, and then gives them the option to write their answer into the question box. Pause me now and unpause me when you're... Okay, step 3, the biggie. In this step in our algorithm, we explained how the program is going to respond differently depending on whether or not the pupil gets their spelling correct or not. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to show you exactly how to code this part, but I am going to show you the commands I think you will need. Now, at the heart of what we're trying to do here is get the program to respond differently depending on whether or not a condition has been met. And that means we're going to use one of the selection blocks. So the first block you are going to need from the control menu is the if then else block. Now, to create the condition for this selection command, we need to be able to check whether or not the pupil's response, their spelling, is correct or not. Does it equal the correct answer? There's a bit of a clue there. So to do that, we're going to go to operators and we're going to get the equal operator. We're going to have to get rid of that number 50 in there and put something else in there, but I don't want to give too much away. We also need to go back into sensing and get that answer variable, because that's where pupil's answer is going to be stored. And then finally, we need a couple of commands which are going to be the commands that are run when the spelling is either correct or incorrect. So we said that when the spelling is correct, we want it to say, well done. And when it's incorrect, we want it to play the audio recording of the correct spelling. So I think you've got all of the blocks there that you need to turn that third step in our algorithm into code. So give it a go, and if you need a bit of extra help, unpause the video and I'll talk you through how I went about coding this. Great effort everyone, and don't worry if you didn't get yours working first time. Even professional programmers spend lots of time finding and fixing bugs in their code, called debugging. So that's why it's really important that when you're coding like this, you regularly test your program by running it to see if it's doing what you wanted it to do. So let me show you how I went about combining these commands so that we could turn that third step of our algorithm into code. So far we've got the when green flag clicked, it will play the audio recording asking the pupil to spell school, and then it will say please enter your answer in the box. What I want to do then is check whether or not the answer that the pupil has put into that box, whether that's equal to the correct answer. So I'm going to place my selection command here. Let me just move the other commands out of the way so you can see a little bit better. And I'm going to say that does the answer equal the correct answer? Now I'm going to have to write in here the correct answer. So this one is spelling school, so the correct answer is SCHOOL. So now we've built this little condition in our selection block which says if the answer equals school, if that's true, if that's correct, it's going to run the command in the top portion of this block. Else, if it's not correct, if their answer doesn't equal the correct answer, it will run the command in the lower portion of this block. So referring back to our algorithm, if their answer is correct, we want it to say well done. And if it's incorrect, we want it to play the recording of how to spell school. So let's test my program.
Spell school.
So I've been asked to spell school. If I get it right, well done. And if I run it again and deliberately get it wrong,
spell school. School is spelled SCHOOL.
There we go. So that's how I went about coding that third step in our algorithm. Now our fourth step is the simplest. It simply says that we want to repeat steps 1 to 3 4 more times, so our quiz doesn't just have one question but it has 5 in total. And I'm going to leave you with a top tip for working in Scratch for duplicating code. Rather than writing all of this code out again 5 more times, we can simply go to the top of the code that we want to duplicate, we right click, we click on duplicate, and it will duplicate all of that code for us. So all I have to do now is put that underneath and modify
school.
It's going to start running. Modify each of the bits that I need to for the next question in our quiz. So this will be spelled push, and the answer needs to be push, and the audio for if they spelt it incorrectly is push. There we go. Over to you to finish off your quiz with 5 questions. And when you've completed them, arrange with one of the teachers of the younger classes in your school for them to have a go at answering the questions and improving their spelling.